All right, we are live. Everything is running mostly the way it's supposed to. Mostly. Okay. Just one more quick word about our service. So for those of you who are visiting, who are not familiar with Jewish prayer service, our custom at Congregation, I almost reverted 5 years ago. I almost said Congregation Beth Israel, where I was in Austin. Temple of Israel, our custom at Temple of Israel is to participate as fully together as possible. So if you're comfortable reading Hebrew or English, singing or reading, we do all of these things together. And our service is set so that people who come from other faith traditions should hopefully feel comfortable participating with us. So again, I'll hope we'll all join together as often as we can and feel comfortable. And there are going to be, throughout our service, a few cues where I announce to please rise or please be seated. And I want to acknowledge that when I say this, I'm asking you to rise in either body or in spirit as you're comfortable. So with that, we are going to begin our service on page 126. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services. But I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to help work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us, and to bring that vision to life. We'll continue on page 128 with these words from the book of Psalms. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is for all of us to be together. Continue in the book of Psalms on page 130 with the words of Lachuna, giving thanks to God for the beauty of creation.
So
continue together, welcoming Shabbat with this medieval poem, Lecha Dodi. We'll join together on page 138 if you're looking in the prayer books, and in the prayer books we'll be looking at verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Otherwise, everything that we'll be doing is on the screen. As we reach the final verse, Bo'и v'shalom, I'll invite everyone to please rise and face the entryway as we welcome Shabbat like a bride or a queen. We'll continue on page 142 as we continue the theme of welcoming, this time welcoming the Shabbat angels of peace, the ministering angels of peace, hopefully to bring with them for us a sense of peace and restfulness on this Shabbat. Shalom Aleichem on page 142. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shuvchem Shalom Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We'll continue on page 120 as we prepare to kindle the Shabbat lights. I'll invite Tova and Mary and Annabella to join me on the bima. They're not trick matches, I promise. They just pretend to be.
We're close. Oh, smart.
Oh, you know what? Hold on.
Okay.
Here you go.
Alright, there we go.
Thank you. All right, Annabelle, you stay here. Okay. We're going to continue. We're going to continue without the slide for one slide with Hatzi Kaddish on page 144. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei בחייכון וביומכון ובחייתכו בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקדושה בריחו לעילם ינפול ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
We rise for the call to prayer on page 146.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Oreyon balayla, olelor mibne choshech. Rolelor mibne choshech, vechoshech mibne yor. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Goreyon balayla, golelor mibne choshech, golelor mibne choshech, choshech mibne yor.
We'll continue on page 150 at the bottom. Everlasting love
you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohel Amo Yisrael.
Please rise for the Shema on page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated as we continue on page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בה בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We'll continue on page 157 at the bottom. In
A world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say Adonai. There is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
We'll continue on page 158.
Adonai
love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporech shukat shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We'll continue on page 162 at the top.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael le'ashavat la'asot et hashavat le'dorotam beritoram beini u'bein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam oti le'olam v'shamru Sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael le'ashavat la'asot et hashavat le'dorotam beritoram u'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael le'ashavat la'asot et hashavat le'dorotam beritolam.
Please rise for the Tefillah beginning on page 164 and continuing on even-numbered pages.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agib tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Bezocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Lifnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atara V'Hoshia Mechakel Chaim B'Chesed Mechaye HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofech Olim Umatir Asurim Umekayem be'emunato lishenei afar michamocha ba'al gerurot umido melach melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua b'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kadoshim b'chol yom yalelucha Selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh
Please be seated. I like in our congregation when someone does a good job on the beam, we go like this to let them know. I like that. Well done. We're going to continue on page 173 at the top. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh hashabbat. On the bottom of page 175, you are with us in our prayer, our love and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yira na'avod. A prayer for thanksgiving on the top of page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'el lehodot. We'll continue with a prayer for peace, Shalom Rav, on page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Basim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Basim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon, lecho hashalom. Ki atahu Lecho hashalom, shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. Bechol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים We'll continue with a moment for our own quiet thoughts and prayers.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Begoali Yehu leratzon Imrei fi Behegyon libi lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Begoali
We devote the next few moments in our service to holding those in our family, our friends, our neighbors who are in need of a prayer of healing. If there are those of you who have friends, family, loved ones who are in need of a prayer of healing and you are on Zoom, please feel free to type their names in the chat and I'll read them in a moment. And in the sanctuary, as I look your way, if there's someone we are thinking of and you'd like to share their name, please do. Lauren Trichek, Esther Greenwald, Roz Gabel, and Danny Haynes. For all of our loved ones who are in need of a prayer of healing, we say, Baruch atah Adonai rofei hacholim. Blessed is God who brings healing to those who are in need of healing. We'll join together on page 371 as we sing together Misha Berach. Sheberach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So, this Shabbat and in particular today, is actually a very special day in Jewish history, in modern Jewish history, but something happened 100 years ago today that I think is significant, especially in light of what we are celebrating with Annabelle and her family. And that is, if you had not heard, because I know it's been all over the Jewish news today, that Judy Kaplan, Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan's daughter, celebrated becoming bat mitzvah in the first bat mitzvah ceremony that was kind of like a bar mitzvah 100 years ago today. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you that could be useful, I listened to a whole bunch of podcasts actually about this particular historical moment, and I even found these two pictures which I thought were interesting, because what is interesting in light of Jewish tradition and historical context is that if you were holding a bar or bat mitzvah ceremony in the 1920s and 30s, one, taking pictures was harder than it is today for sure, but beyond that, taking pictures during a bar bat mitzvah service, especially in a conservative synagogue, was like super taboo. It would never have happened. So this picture that you can see is on the slide is from a 1935 bat mitzvah ceremony at Camp Sedgwin in Port Jervis, New York, and I have a little bit to say about that in a second, why it was at a camp in a minute. And then you can see the second picture is actually Judith Kaplan celebrating her second bat mitzvah. For those of you who are not familiar with the tradition, there are those who, when on their 83rd birthday, you celebrate becoming bat mitzvah for a second time, or bar mitzvah, as it were. So this is her celebrating on her 70th anniversary of becoming bat mitzvah in 1992. So how does this, I think this ties in, this idea of what this stands for, of girls being allowed to celebrate becoming banot mitzvah, actually ties in quite well to one particular idea in this week's Torah portion. I like to actually call this concept the troublemaking sacrifice, because we're in the book of Leviticus. We just started the book of Leviticus last week, and for the first basically 6 chapters, we are deep in the midst of details about the temple priest, or the priest in the wilderness, offering sacrifices of various kinds and for various reasons. And we get in this week's Torah portion to a particular kind of sacrifice called a zevach shlamim, which is, the phrase in and of itself is kind of an oxymoron. Zevach means to slaughter. Zevach means to destroy. And shlamim means to be whole, means to be complete. So a zevach shlamim is often translated in the Torah as being a sacrifice of well-being. And so I like to think of the sacrifice of well-being as setting kind of a historical precedence of saying that sometimes, in order for us to feel whole, we have to break something, which I think is a profound idea. In order for us to feel whole, or for that matter, for pieces of our society, for people who feel excluded, for people who feel that they are not able to experience the goodness that society has to offer for one reason or another, that we have to break things sometimes, pieces of our system, in order to allow for that experience of wholeness in our life. As I was listening to the podcast earlier today about the kind of history and development of what banot mitzvah, of what girls celebrating becoming bat mitzvah looks like, it was really fascinating to hear that in literally every single instance of these early examples, the person advocating for the change, it is okay. The person advocating for the change was the girl, not necessarily their family, and definitely not, in most cases, the rabbi of the congregation, and a lot of what happened in these early days, even though the goal was to celebrate in a similar way to the boys, was not really that. In fact, when Judith celebrated becoming bat mitzvah, her father, Rabbi Kaplan, read from the Torah that morning, and Judith read from a tikkun. Does anyone know what a tikkun is? A tikkun is a book that has the Torah and all of the proper pronunciations in it, but she was not allowed to read from the Torah directly. She read from the Torah on Shabbat, which was huge for a girl to do, but she didn't read from the Torah. And the idea that you would have a girl read from the Torah as a part of becoming bat mitzvah didn't change until many years later. It wasn't really a standard practice. When I say that, I mean like more than 50% of congregations until in the late 1950s and early 60s, where it was even possible in most contexts for a girl to read from a Torah scroll. I think that's crazy. Why is this picture important? One, the one from 1935, you can see that this young lady here is not reading from a Torah scroll. Similarly to what I just said, she is reading from a tikkun. She's reading from a copy of the Torah that's in a book. The other thing that is significant is that she's celebrating becoming bat mitzvah at a summer camp. The most common place for girls to celebrate becoming a benot mitzvah, of a girl to celebrate becoming bat mitzvah, they took place at Jewish summer camps, in part because the board of directors of most synagogues would not allow these events to take place in the synagogues. The synagogues were opposed to what was going on, but these summer camps, which in part where in particular these rabbis who were disciples of Rabbi Kaplan allowed for them to happen. Do you have a question? I just wanted to make sure, because this is historical and educational, so I'm not opposed to answering questions. So we have these incredibly powerful expressions of wanting to be a part of Jewish life in something greater than what people were allowed before, with these girls who are 12 and 13 years old, who are speaking up for themselves, who are trying to break an ancient system in order to be fully immersed in the Jewish experience. Now, what was also another kind of interesting piece to kind of wrap everything together is that in these early days, and really even up until again, the late 50s, 60s, and even into the 70s, was that when a girl became and celebrated becoming bat mitzvah, it was seen as the end of her Jewish educational journey within the context of a congregation. They were not counted in a minyan. They were not counted in other ways in congregational participation in life. Women were not allowed to join boards of congregations until around the 70s and 80s in most contexts. So even though today marks a really cool landmark, 100 years from the first bat mitzvah, Jewish history, and in particular as our modern Jewish history in America has shown growth with respect to gender identity and women's issues in particular, we're still very new at this game relative to Jewish history. So what I'd like to say to you, Annabella, and really to everybody, is that your voice, the voice of these young ladies in the context of their reaching this age of adulthood in Jewish tradition, their voice is what ultimately changed the way we do things for the better. One more piece is really important, and the first female rabbi wasn't ordained until 50 years ago. We are 50 years out from the first female rabbi. So, and that's Rabbi Sally Presand, who was my ordination speaker because she was celebrating her 40th year of being ordained when I was becoming a rabbi. So I think that's a kind of cool connection that I have with her. But in any case, in a lot of places in the country, she, as a rabbi, could still not participate or be counted as a part of a minyan, which I think, again, is kind of crazy. So what do I want to say? I want to say that I hope that we all feel, especially when we encounter issues where a particular system is in place that prevents people from feeling a kind of wholeness or the ability to fully immerse ourselves in some kind of experience that would bring meaning to our lives, that we are willing to find our voice, express ourselves, and when necessary, work to break something, to cause the good trouble that I know that John Lewis talked about in doing his civil rights work. But making good trouble, I think, is something that this Torah portion speaks for, and I hope that allows us, when we find our voice, to make this kind of good trouble, that we bring a little bit of redemption to the world and to future generations who will feel that kind of sense of comfort from being able to fully participate in that experience that makes them feel whole. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to continue with Aleinu on page 586. I'll invite everyone to please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, l'teinu l'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, velo sanu k'mishlochot ha'adama, shelo sanu chalkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtavavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malvei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Please be seated.
We'll continue on page 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We devote the next few moments of our service to hold in our hearts those who have come before us, those for whom this Shabbat and the previous week are a yahrzeit, or an anniversary of their passing. We think of Edward Donner, Bennett Myers, Anna Block-Stamler, Samuel Goldman, Theodore Mayer, Norma Opper, William S. Rayner, William Mark Ross, Leona Grace Settle, Morris Burgess, Lillian Yokel, Louis Gold, Carl Adam Cohn, Hyman Okun, and Samuel Rubenstein. And if there are loved ones you are holding in your hearts and you'd like to honor their name or honor them as we are about to say Kaddish, as I look your way, please feel free. And also on Zoom, if there's someone you are thinking of at this time, please feel free to write their name in the chat and I'll read it aloud in a minute. Gail Rose Carmen. Say Zichronam Livracha, may the memories of those who came before us always be a blessing. We'll join together at page 598 as we rise together for Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, Alma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala ubizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekedusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, ta'amiran alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Bimru, Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimrav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Bimru, Amen. May the one who creates peace in the heavens on high bring peace to us here on earth, to all people of Israel and all people of the world. And may God send comfort to all those who are mourning. Together we say, Amen. Please be seated. We have a few announcements of upcoming events. First is for this Sunday, there is a traveling exhibit called part of the Hate Ends Now tour, which is a replica cattle car of what people in the Holocaust would have experienced. That has been actually in Greenville, I think, since Wednesday, and it's been in several different spots around the city. But on Sunday, March 20th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., this Hate Ends Now cattle car will be at Congregation Beth Israel in their parking lot. And it is definitely for mature audiences. It's an intense experience from what I understand, so I'm hoping that we'll have a good turnout. It is a powerful exhibit, and one that's important, I think, for us to see. Someone is emphasizing that it is an amazing experience. Our Music on Sunday series continues on April 10th at 3 p.m. We have a band called Laika Fantasy Concert. Jeff Gaines, who is the person who is in charge of Music on Sunday for the temple, wanted to point out that two of the performers, one of them is from Ukraine, is Ukrainian, and another is from Russia. And the fact that they are able to make beautiful music together, especially in this time of turmoil between those two nations, is a powerful kind of experience in and of itself. So if you would like to come, tickets are $20 a person, $5 for students, and you can purchase them at the door. It's April 10th, 3 o'clock p.m. Our Temple of Israel Book Club will meet again on Tuesday, April 19th, still on Zoom. At 7:30 p.m., we'll be reading this New York Times best-selling book called The Man in the White Sharkskin Suit, My Family's Exodus from Old Cairo to the New World. Our book club discussions have really been fantastic throughout the last year and a half since we began. I have found that even people who have not read the book, or even if you've just started the book and you want to come and participate, they're good fun, and you get to meet some of our members who this is their only way of participating in the congregation, and it's just a good time. And if you like to read, it's even better time. We have a mitzvah day coming up on Sunday, April 24th. Where we're going to join together. Everyone's going to come together for our religious school tefillah at 9:30, and then beginning at 10 o'clock, our volunteers, people who come, are going to do some planting outside and yard cleanup and organizing inside the temple. And it really is, there's a lot of things that we're going to be doing at the temple to help make this place the best that it can be. So if you are able to join us, again, that's April 24th, beginning at 9:30 for our tefillah together, and the work begins at 10. But again, getting together with our temple family is always a good time. So even if we're going to be doing work, it will be nice. And also a part of the mitzvah day will be collecting food for United Ministries. So please also consider bringing some non-perishable items so that we can donate that to United Ministries as well. Last but not least, we have a really special concert that's going to be at the Peace Center. There is a group called Violins of Hope. It's a father and son team who collected and restored violins that were confiscated during the Holocaust. They have a troupe of dancers and musicians coming from Bulgaria, as well as musicians from Greenville will be performing in traditional Bulgarian folk music on these very beautifully restored violins. This is at the Peace Center on May 4th at 7:30, and the tickets are $35 to $75, and they are available at the Peace Center's website. But we hope that the temple will have a good turnout for this event, because it really is going to be a fantastic experience, and really, for Greenville, kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It took a lot of effort to get this to come to Greenville and the Peace Center. All right, we are going to say Kiddush and bless our children and Motzi together, and then we're going to conclude our service. So, first we'll join together in Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen l'chaim. It's not a shot. It really is like pomegranate juice. It's delicious. We're going to continue with the blessing for our children, whether you can see your children on Zoom, or if you're sitting next to your children in the sanctuary, or if we're just holding our children in our hearts, we say these words of blessing for them. May you be blessed like the sons of Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh. May you be blessed like the mothers of our people, like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. For all of our children, we wish these words of blessing, that you should always be proud of who you are and always strive to be the best version of yourselves. With these words of Torah, we say, Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God's light shine on you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's presence always feel close to you, and may you always be blessed with the most important gifts of wholeness and peace. We say together, Amen. And Motzi, we actually have some treats back there, so we'll say Motzi together. Motzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together, as our joyful prayer is said, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. All right. We're going to conclude our service singing Oseh Shalom, and then join together in the social hall behind us.
La
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. You are all invited back every weekend. You sound beautifully. Shabbat Shalom. I'm trying to unmute everybody. Okay, come on. Cooperate. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone on Zoom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Everyone.
Shabbat
Good to
Shabbat
see
Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom, Laura. I wish you a good day tomorrow.
Shabbat Shalom.
Very much.
You too, David. Give you strength. Shalom, Laura. I wish you a good day tomorrow. We'll catch up soon. Whenever you're ready, Laura.
I will.
You know, if you're up to sending me an email or a text, that's fine too. Whatever you feel like.
Okay.
All right.
Shabbat Shalom.
I miss those hugs, Laura. God.
I'm ready to give you one.
Ditto.
Here, there you go. Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Hi, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, David.
Good night.
Jill, so how are you?
I'm fine.
Oh, there you are. What?
Got busier. I'm busier because I got offered a little job.
Oh, good.
So
Well, good. That's a good thing.
yeah, recruiting arts teachers for next year.
I'm sorry?
Recruiting arts teachers for next year.
Okay. Well, listen, you're valued in the school system, so that's great.
Right.
All right, listen, we'll catch up one day soon.
Putting in a lot of. All right, love you.
Okay,
Bye.
love you too.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Cassie, Shabbat Shalom to you and Ellen, Brandy. I always, I grew up with my next door neighbor and we were, oops, okay. All right. All right, good night.
Okay.